What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. And today we're going to be talking about Zach LaVine and his potential to hit the Supermax. We'll be talking about all that, maybe some more, right after this. All right, so before we get too far, I want to say that we've been having some great live streams. I've still been live streaming in the place of what was scheduled as Chicago Bulls after game live shows. And it's been great. Had my friend VJ on, and then after that we had the Cognac Boys on, and it was just two great live streams. So all I can say, and this isn't to shamelessly promote or anything, you guys got to click that bell notification so you get notified when we go live, because our live streams lately have just been, it's been some of the most fun I've had since I started the channel. Great conversations with Bulls fans, both in the chat and on the stream itself. So it's just been a great, fun all around time. So make sure you join that when you guys do have the chance. I will be live streaming tomorrow night in place of what would have been after the Toronto game. But nonetheless, I wanted to sit back and I wanted to talk about, because this did come up in the live stream, is Zach LaVine's upcoming contract, right? I think at this point it's safe to feel like Zach LaVine's going to be re-signing. I understand people who like, until the ink's dried, we don't believe it, or whatever else. I understand that. But I wanted to talk about the potential of Zach LaVine hitting the Supermax and what that could look like and change the outlook of the team. I've been very boisterous of saying how expensive it could be for the Bulls to keep Io if he keeps playing this way. But then on top of that, a lot of the conversation around Bulls fans and the trade speculation has all been built around bringing in players with long-term, high salary in many cases. So I wanted to talk about this. So first, it's really simple. If Zach LaVine makes an All-NBA team or wins the MVP, he gets it, right? Now, he did have a chance if he won Defensive Player of the Year. We know that's probably not going to happen as well. But if he makes an All-NBA team this season, he will qualify for the Supermax, and how that changes the Bulls' outlook, right? So his contract would then go from about a $200 million contract to about $250 million. And so that little bit of a difference, that scale of a difference, can make a considerable impact on what the Bulls do in the future financially, especially considering we have heavy money to Lonzo, DeMar, and Atlas Caruso over what will be the first part of that contract. So with that being said, for the people and the fans who are calling for the Bulls to make a significant trade for a big-time salary, I don't think that I think this is another thing that points to that being less likely, is that they are preparing for Zach LaVine to get that max contract. Now, the Supermax, that's what we're here to talk about, right? Do we see Zach LaVine qualifying for the Supermax? It's going to be difficult for him, right? Making an All-NBA team, that's not to say he doesn't have the skill. That's not to say I don't see Zach LaVine making an All-NBA team at some point in his career. But at this point, for him to qualify this year to make an All-NBA team and qualify for that Supermax 5-year extension, which is worth up to 35% of the salary cap, it's going to be a tall order for Zach LaVine. And that's not to say that anything about Zach LaVine's skill-wise or anything like that. Just looking at what else goes around him. You got to think, Steph Curry, a shoo-in to make that All-NBA team, right? So that leaves one guard position for Zach LaVine to make it. Now, the question that you have to ask yourself is, even if you think Zach LaVine is the best shooting guard in the league, or one of the best shooting guards in the league, will the politics allow him to get into that place of making an All-NBA team? And one of the things that I think that it will take for Zach LaVine to make that All-NBA team is this team's overall success. We've talked about it before. The team has to have a huge amount of success. They have to get above 50 wins, I think, for Zach LaVine to even be considered for an All-NBA team. They have to be a lock-in for the playoffs. So far, these things, like, we're on pace for over 50 wins. We're definitely on pace to make the playoffs, and that's not a question or anything right now. But at the end of the day, do you see, and that's what I'm leaving this video off on. Do you see Zach LaVine making an All-NBA team and qualifying for the Supermax in this upcoming offseason? And if that does happen, like I said, then the fans who are calling for these trades of these big time players and big contract players, you really need to think about, is the Bulls franchise going to do that? We know that we've historically tried to avoid the luxury tax. Now, I know we have that that it's hard to make that tangible of that they're willing to go into the luxury tax for a contender. What do you judge as a contender? How many stars do you need? What does the owners of this team look at and say, all right, this is a team worth going into the tax for? We'll see. All that will be made very evident very early on into the offseason next year. And again, this is something looking far ahead. This is something taking what Zach LaVine has done so far this season. It's a long season, and we're really taking a look at like a fairly small chunk of the season so far to try to figure this out. But if you look at it right now, Zach LaVine is has the second best PER, player efficiency rating, of any shooting guard in the league right now. He's only behind Donovan Mitchell, and he's only behind Donovan Mitchell by a minuscule amount. Donovan Mitchell's PER right now is 22.5, whereas Zach LaVine's is 21.6. The next one after that, surprisingly enough, is Gary Payton II with the 21.36 PER. But Devin Booker, the next starting shooting guard at that, Devin Booker with a 20.15 PER. So again, is it possible for Zach LaVine to make an all-star, not an all-star, I'm sorry, an all-NBA team this year? It is absolutely possible. But let me know down below, do you think Zach LaVine is going to qualify for the Supermax this season? And if that happens, do you think this franchise is going to be willing to go into the luxury tax to take advantage of this championship window we currently have? Let me know what you guys think about all that down below. Make sure you're following the podcast at Bull Central Pod. Make sure you can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. And lastly, call that text and voicemail line 773-270-2799. Like I like to end every video on, go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.